Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be giving some recommended settings for Neo 2 in flash mode and also talking through how to set up the ROTOLIGHT HSS transmitter by Elincrhom. The first thing you want to do is get the Neo 2 ready for flash mode. So simply turn the Neo 2 on, go into the trigger menu, so double click both buttons, scroll across the menu that says Trig, click the right button to go into that menu. Now you'll see mode. If you right click it to go into that, check that it says Skyport. Skyport means that the wireless receiver is enabled. If it says off, scroll it to the right. So in this case everything's fine, so we can left click to come out of this menu. Now if I use the right knob, I can scroll across to check what group the light is set to. Make sure it's on channel 1 group 1, which is what the Elincrhom defaults to, so that's set to group 1, which is correct. I can use the left knob to come out of that. And on the right knob, scroll across to go to frequency, which is channel. And again, click into that to check what channel it's set to. So it's set to group 1, channel 1, which is the default for the Elincrhom, so I'm good to go. So I can now left click to come out of that menu, and I can go back into the flash menu for Neo 2. So scroll across, go into flash. Now, you actually need to see the duration display. So here, for example, 60th will tell you you're in the flash mode. Our recommendation is to leave Neo set to a 50th. The light will automatically recalculate if you're shooting at a shutter speed higher than that. So next step, now the Neo is set up and working, is to power up your Elincrhom Skyport transmitter. Now this will default to the right settings, although if you already own an Elincrhom Plus HS and you've downloaded the firmware, you will need to make these adjustments. Go into the setup menu, scroll down to the option that says ELSP mode, and use the rotary encoder to change that to say speed. Press the button inside the rotary encoder to select that, and the screen will turn red. As the next step, if you're on the Canon and Sony version of the trigger, scroll down in the setup menu to sync mode and change that from normal to HS. Again, click the button in the middle of the rotary encoder to select that option. You'll actually see the HS symbol on the top of the display to indicate you've selected that. If you are shooting on Nikon, you won't see the sync menu option in the Elincrhom, and that's because it's set by default from your camera, so don't worry. Finally, go up to the menu option that says Scan in the Elincrhom, press the button in the middle of the rotary encoder, and it will force Elincrhom to rescan for available Neos in the room. Within a couple of seconds, you'll see the transmitter detect the Neos. Indeed, if you're using a 3-light kit, all 3 Neos will be displayed separately. Now, one of the great things with the Elincrhom is, in addition to being a wireless high-speed sync transmitter, it will also control both the power and color temperature of every single Neo, either individually or as a group, depending on how you've set them up. Using the left-hand side button on the ROTOLIGHT Elincrhom transmitter, that will control power. So click that button and turn the rotary encoder to adjust brightness. You'll see in the power menu on the Elincrhom the brightness displayed. So for example, if I've set the brightness level 90%, it's going to display the value 9.0 on the screen, which it's doing now. Similarly, for color temperature, press the mod button until it says mod plus, and then use the rotary encoder to adjust color temperature. Again, you will see a visual representation of that color temperature in the display. So if you've selected 3600 Kelvin, it will display 3.6. And similarly, 5600 Kelvin would be 5.6. Now for best results, the Neo 2 is going to be brightest at its midpoint color. Being a bicolor LED light, that's going to be somewhere in the region of 3900 Kelvin to around 4200 Kelvin. So if you adjust the color on the back, you'll actually notice a little red dot on the bottom right-hand side of the screen that will indicate when it's at its brightest color. That's the recommended setting if you want to get max power out of the light. Now on the back of the transmitter, you can also see there's a test fire button, so you can just check everything's working. When we press the test fire, you can see Neo's firing properly. So that is how to pair the ROTOLIGHT transmitter by Elincrhom to your Neo 2. One other function of the ROTOLIGHT transmitter is if you use that test fire button, it will act as a right click on the ROTOLIGHT Neo. So if you want to control the general menu options of Neo, you can now do that. Right click and it will take you into the menu. Use the rotary encoder to scroll across the options, for example, flash, trig, SFX. Press the test fire button to go into the desired menu. Double click the test fire button to come out of the desired menu. Finally, if you wanted to trigger the cinematic special effects from Neo using the ROTOLIGHT Elincrhom transmitter, if I press the test fire button, it will stop or start that effect on my command. And this is being used to create the effect of a gunshot happening in the corridor where the actress is hiding. we've got a Neo 2 in the neon SFX mode, and really just adds to the atmosphere of the scene. We've then got a second Neo that's set to a special effects mode gunshot, which is being wirelessly triggered by the director in the scene,